Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, we have the supporters on the stream today, and so, whoa, if the cat doesn't pull my headphones out, I go ahead and turn on their audio. You guys can say hello. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. All right. So here we
everyone
are.
jump on the ones.
All right. Now I'm going to kick the kitty cam off. No, my audio's on, and my computer's running like a 286. Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, we mute that.
I think it's because of your 3-camera thing.
It's not. It is the combination of 3 cameras and the new version of Chromium. The new version of Chromium absolutely sucks, which is 70. So as soon as I remove that the second camera, everything, or the third camera, everything will work. But I was able to actually run 3 cameras on the old version of Chromium without a problem. So
can you just downgrade the version of Chromium?
No, for whatever reason, it is locking that version. I mean, I'm sure I probably can figure it out after a while, but anyway. So, hello everybody, welcome back. We are talking today about the social credit score system in China today, and this is a patron stream. So, if you are a patron supporter, we'll figure out how to get you on here. Of course, on Patreon and on Think Life Media, the link for the chat is already posted over there.
We have super chats now, right?
Yeah, we do accept super chats as well. So if you are a regular super chatter, I will try and get you the link. The downside is I don't have access to my other computer with the email access. So I'll find a way to get a link to you if you want to jump on with a super chat or something. But anyway, hello everybody. How are you guys all doing?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Good.
Very good. Very good. Let's see. We got Frost Ranger of the Frozen Realm. Greetings, Metal Lord. Hello there. Judging by the title, I'm pretty sure we'll be discussing the Orwellian social credit system. Yes, indeed we are. It's undoubtedly open to abuse. Benjamin Eldridge. Greetings, Chad V. How's it going there? Let's see. Government control equals not freedom. There we go. See, if you were a programmer, Chad V, that would have been exclamation part equals sign rather than an equal with a slash through it, but that's okay. That's all right. Chad did not vote for donkeys or elephants. That's probably good. Just held my nose and voted Trump. All right. I'm surprisingly pleased by what he's accomplished, though. All right. Sippy Eyes Vince is on and also on the live stream, so hello, Sippy. Let's see, Jason K, how's it going there? Bite My Vape, hello there. Ryan Coin, how's it going there? So use Firefox, yeah. If I didn't have, yeah, I will probably move things over and start using Firefox to do my backend on the streaming stuff because this new version of Chromium is absolutely sucks. And I could not find a good downgrade there. Analog, super chat, $5 super chat. Analog, if you'd like to jump on, let me know in the comments here, and I will boot up my cloud system and get you a link in that system there. So we'll see what we can do. Supersonic Boy went to the dentist today. They had to take a picture of my face for some odd reason. Any idea why? Oh, it's just to catalog you in the data collection system, man. No big deal. No big deal. All right, so we are going to be talking about the social credit score in China. So before we dive into any articles, what do my panelists have to say about this? Ben, any thoughts?
This sounds like an Orwellian nightmare to me.
Okay, good. All right, Brian.
Social credit score? That doesn't sound like anything I want coming to America anytime soon.
Dan?
This sounds like it was cooked up in the back room somewhere through a think tank. It has so many different arms and legs to go with it. I just wondered if it has a negative score.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm right there with that.
All right, Quint.
Whatever it is, I haven't had time to read the articles. It just doesn't sound good.
Oh, but we all need a FICO score for our life too, as if it wasn't bad enough to have one just on. All right, Vince.
I think as we discuss more and more into it, I'm just thinking that everyone's going to be so scared. It's very scary. Yeah. I mean, are we living in a movie now? It feels like we're living in a movie.
Yeah. Of course, Ryan Coyne just says, "Does 1984 have a Chinese translation?" I doubt it. It's my sneaky suspicion. By the way, if you guys haven't seen the screen, we are actually recording this from Beijing. So
one of its purposes is entertainment.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is very entertaining to see all this, isn't it? As long as it doesn't come
especially for the powers that be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's go ahead and have a look at some articles. I got to find my articles. Where'd they go? All right, so first we're starting with BuzzFeed News, and a Chinese-style digital dystopia isn't far away. Now, some of these articles we'll be covering are up to like a year or so old. Now, when this first occurred, I actually talked about it on the weekly news roundup, and it would have been a while ago. So, I probably had 1,000 subscribers or something, so nobody watched the video. But this is something I've been looking at and following. But this last couple weeks, it's some of the negative consequences of this started to show up. Is one guy who was a very popular journalist in China pretty much got blacklisted because he had a bad social credit score. So we'll kind of talk about what this is. Of course, if you know anything like our credit scoring system in America, that completely should be abolished. Because it's made up of 5 points. Like, a good credit score does not mean you know how to manage money. In fact, more often than not, it means you don't. There's 5 components to the FICA credit score system in America, and every one of them has to do with how much money you borrow from the bank. So if you're a multi-gazillionaire like Jeff Bezos and you don't have any credit at all, you don't borrow any money, you don't use credit cards, you do cash with everything or maybe debit cards with everything, you could come to this town where I live in and you'll have a very hard time finding a place to live because you don't have a credit score. But you could buy the entire town with the cash. Okay, that's how bad the credit score system is. Now, in China, what they're doing is they're utilizing it's a social credit score system, so they're taking advantage of all of their extensive surveillance and facial recognition, pretty much locking everybody into perpetual surveillance, and then assigning you a credit score, like a social score. Are you a good Chinese citizen or a bad Chinese citizen? And the score activates, it updates itself in live as you move about your life. You jaywalk, boom, down goes your score. You buy excessive amounts of alcohol, boom, down goes your score. You talk about the government in ways that are unflattering, boom, down goes your score. If your friends talk bad, down goes your score. Literally. What do you guys think of that? Your friends can drag down your score.
Well, you just brought up an awful lot of the arms and legs I was talking about this thing that was cooked up for entertainment.
Yeah, and so this is kind of funny. Facebook wanted to get into this action. Unfortunately, the Cambridge Analytica stuff happened right around this time. But they wanted to get into the credit score action themselves and literally tie an element of their trustworthiness based upon your friends on Facebook. Wow.
So
yeah.
Does that mean that if you don't have a Facebook profile, you have a lower credit score?
Well, that never came to fruition here in America, but conceivably possible. Because, like, if you don't have a credit card, yeah, you have a lower credit score. That's probably okay. You shouldn't live your life to have a credit score. All right, so let's look at these articles. So the first one here is from BuzzFeed News. A Chinese-style digital dystopia isn't as far away as we think. And we love this logo here, the AT&T full of all the spy equipment. Ooh, exciting. All right, so this is kind of talking a little bit about this journalist. Basically, he's been exposing corruption and wrongdoing, and they just didn't like that. So he's pretty much been blacklisted, which means he can't fly. He cannot ride the trains. He can't participate in society in most ways. And if he had young children at home, they risk being taken away and put into retraining camps. Imagine getting your kids taken away, being put in retraining camps because, you jaywalked a few times. But we have to have our perfect citizens. So basically what this article is going into, it's covering some of his things and talking about how the telecommunication system, of course, in China, everything is all on a closed circuit system. And the good news about what we have here in the West is that while the companies have all the central access to data and the third-party doctrine is a thing, so the government can get all of the data fairly easy, we have a little bit of saving grace that it's not going directly to the government, at least not on the surface legally, although Edward Snowden kind of demonstrated otherwise. So do you guys have any comments on that first kind of point there, that this digital stuff is all around us and it's collecting us, and more often than not, we are providing them this data? What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Well, I noticed last year it occurred to me that on my commute to work every morning, 13 miles each way, there is not a single location where my car is not visible by a camera that could read the license plate, see who's driving it. And it makes you wonder, who's watching it? Where's the footage going? How's it being stored? Are the cameras even on?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. We drive up and down I-95 down here, and it's not even every quarter mile now. It's every 100 feet or so. They have cameras on the roadsides. They have cameras at every exit, every entrance to every interstate. They have cameras in the rest stops. They have cameras all over the place. And one time I actually went on the computer, the Google Maps, and you could pull up a screen on your computer. You could see the parking lots of shopping centers and see people walking to their cars. And you can actually make out who they are.
Yeah.
To play devil's advocate here, though, if, for example, something happened to you, would you not like to know that you could prove that somebody slammed in your car, somebody scratched your car? Would you? I mean, I'm not saying I'm for all this, but
that's a good point. And I've actually had a friend who, this was going back over a decade and a half ago. I was still in grad school, and a friend had his car parked at the local Walmart, and they of course have cameras in their parking lot. And he comes out and there's a big old dent in his car. So he goes back in the store and told them about it, and they pulled the footage of where his car was. They showed him where the car was, and they pulled the footage, and yep, they got the whole car, license plate, and everything. And so the police go and knock on the lady's woman and says, well, you can A, pay this guy back for his car damages, or B, you can go to jail right now for a hit and run. And she graciously paid because, yes, a camera was there. And so maybe on a public, I'm not super opposed to having, intersection cameras at major intersections, because car accidents happen and it's good to have the footage. But having them every moment of the time on a 13-mile commute, I think, is slightly excessive.
I know we have a lot of those cameras here. They're all over the intersections, and a lot of them just aren't monitored, is what I've heard. So a lot of them are there to sort of scare people.
Yeah, I think the big issue is when it's all controlled by a single entity. That's scary.
Yeah, and goes back to that previous point, who said that where does all this footage going? Do we know where this footage is going? Do we know who has access to it, and under what circumstance do they have access to it? That's a big thing in the Amazon recognition case right now, right? They're looking at what is the mechanism to protect the private data of these users. That's one of the things that they're asking Amazon right now.
They don't even care about the privacy of these users.
No, not really.
Now that I think about it, does that mean in order to live in China, you have to accept a EULA because of all these cameras and stuff?
China's not bound by EULAs. They do what they want. They're like, EULAs, we don't care about EULAs. All right.
What would happen if you declined?
Yeah, what's that?
What would happen if you declined?
Yeah.
You don't want to know, Ben.
You can't. Yeah. If you declined, it's just prison camp for you. I mean, really. All right. So our next article, somebody says we're going to BuzzFeed News. Hey, not my first place for news either, but it was actually accurate. This is another place. So this is ABC. This is Australian ABC. Vincent, did you give us this article?
Yeah, I think I did. This is it's a very easy to read, but it provides a really easy to understand expose on what it's all about. And at the end of it, it links to this YouTube documentary. It's actually a news report by one of our Australian outlets. And it gives you a real good insight as to how all this stuff works in real life. I mean, the reporter was just trying to cross the road just to test it out, and there's a big massive screen on the other side of the road that yells at him basically says, "You're trying to cross the road illegally. Please step back."
And of course, it records them. So what you're kind of seeing with this animated GIF here is that, and this is effectively what the cameras actually look like for the people who actually are monitoring these, is it will identify who's who, and they can see what your score is. You can see this guy's got a 387, man. He's bad, man. That child is at risk of going to a prison camp. I mean, you got these 650s, the 782s. These guys are good citizens. Got the neutral guys. So this is kind of like what happens is the cameras record everything you do. Literally, it will record kind of like the Amazon Go stores. What goes in your shopping cart? That can determine your credit worthiness, your social score worthiness, whatever it happens to be. And so I hate all this animated stuff.
I mean, like, what do you do if you're out walking to a store to get something or something, and you're grieving over somebody in your family that died?
Yeah.
Assign you a -200 or something.
Yeah, you're crying in public. You're expressing your emotions. That's got to be good. So here, every step she takes, big or small, can be tracked and judged. And this is one of those questions people are talking about. Is, you know, it's in the big point made in 1984 that somebody could be watching this at any point in time. It doesn't necessarily mean somebody is, but somebody could be. And so the mere fact the camera's there coerces you into being a certain way. Okay. Thoughts on that?
This can be converted into some kind of AI that can read this and determine if you're going to be a problem person or not, and alert the authorities.
Correct. And that's one of the things that documentary Vincent talked about.
Then the AI will just take over and have its fun with you.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, again, one of those things the documentary talks about that's linked to the bottom of this is that a lot of this is being processed by the AI. The AI is making the decisions for us on this kind of stuff. And that's kind of problematic because there was another one, and I forget what group did this documentary. I saw it not long ago, and it was about the algorithms that rule us. And so... let's see, here's a supermarket shot recording everything you're doing. And I think for us in this day and age, one of the things we have to remember is that we are complicit in this. Like, our addiction to our smartphones, our addiction to this new media, this new technology, has paved the way for this as we participated in this and made this a big deal.
You know what the justification in China is for it, though? The justification is that it's actually nothing new, going further what you said. It's nothing new because all they're doing is just conglomerating your credit score, your criminal record, and a few other things all together into one number. That's what they're justifying it by.
What information would come up about you if you were just visiting China?
So... I mean, as you can tell, I'm Chinese, and I was born and raised in Australia here, but so I've still got relatives in China, and I go there quite a lot. It doesn't mean anything. I've been around China, and it's fine. I think it's more for the citizens that it affects. But then again, I don't want anything I necessarily say here to have an impact on whether I can get back into China next time I try and go.
Yeah, and that's what we just don't know.
We don't know.
This is so new and it's not fully implemented. But the bottom line is everything we do, everything we buy, everything we say is being logged, tracked, recorded, and assigned to us. And this is a dystopia that I'm not quite sure we really want. So they call it the Sesame credit score. That's interesting.
There are supposed to be some benefits to this score as well. So they talk about how if you have a high score, you don't have to you don't have to pay deposits. If you want to try and hire a car, you don't have to pay a deposit. If you want to book a hotel room, you don't have to pay a deposit because you're deemed trustworthy.
Yeah.
But I think the cost to have that kind of reward is way too great.
And not to mention, too, people on a list for medical procedures, you need an organ transplant, whatever else, this weighs heavily into that. You know, who gets the medical treatment first? Well, it's the people who have a good social credit score, which is very frightening. So the next one is actually from Wired. I think this one breaks it down a little bit better. Hello, Joe, and hello, Anna Rita. Got a couple more folks jump on. We should jump over to the comments before we dive into that. We have a couple here. Let's see. If you have a low score, then it's off to the labor camps. It'd have to be really low to go off to the labor camps. But they did talk about if your score does drop low enough, they do send you out to retraining camps.
That's just euphemism, Tom.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
Yep.
What do they do with the child if the parent has a low credit score? Do they send the child somewhere too?
Yeah, Vince, explain this a little bit closer, because I encountered several of this. I want to make sure I have it right.
What's that?
Explain. I mean, I want to make sure I have this right, because I was seeing things about retraining programs. What circumstances do those do?
One of the exposés that this program talks about was in far western China. There's an ethnic Muslim minority population where they are extensively using this surveillance to oppress them, essentially. I think that's what that's referring to. They're using it. The UN recently said that found that China has rapidly expanded these re-education camps. Essentially, there are entire towns that are re-education camps.
Yeah. I remember seeing that. I just didn't know all the details about how you get to go there. I mean,
how do you? By being this ethnic minority, by being born as this in this racial group.
Okay,
that's
so
how you
it's
get
a racial thing. Oh, okay.
Yes.
So, UEMs, hello there, says, how can Google help the Chinese communists further repress their population? Yeah. Dragonfly? I don't know. Let's see. Okay, control freaks being control freaks. Don't give people an inch. You ignore them. They never allow any power at all. Keep in mind, Apple moves its headquarters to China. The Chinese are already keeping scores on us here. They just can't enforce anything on us yet. Of course, China is one of the largest sources of American-owned debt, which is very frightening. If they call that note immediately due, we might have to surrender half the country or something, you know? Okay, do you believe people are basically good or basically bad? If you believe the latter, we shouldn't trust people with power. Well, I'll save the answer for that on my other channel.
Hey, it's Santa Claus.
Santa Claus? Where's Santa Claus?
I mean determining who's been good and bad this year.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There you go. Santa. We will ask Santa. I mean, come on. He's coming up. Greetings, Joe. All right. Imagine being one of the people who can't sleep without knowing everyone is under their control. Wake up and always think about those people who disagree with you. All right. Can you say equilibrium? I can. Can you say KEQ? Ooh. All right. Do you get in trouble if you're overweight over there? You might, because you're a negative drain on the health care, aren't you?
Yeah, but you're a positive influence on food movement.
That's a good point.
The food
I
economy.
I don't know which one's which.
Well, I'm playing devil's advocate, like Vince was.
Absolutely. All right, so this one here from Wired, the odd reality of life under China's all-seeing credit system. Like I say, I think this one breaks it down better. I think, yeah, I put this article in the chat already. All right, so let's see. So they say their ultimate goal is to determine the trustworthiness of the country's 1.4 billion citizens. How do you determine if 1.4 billion citizens are trustworthy? Kitty, how do you determine if people are trustworthy?
Didn't the other article say there were 200 million cameras? That's one for
that's
every
just
cabin?
in Beijing. That's just in Beijing.
Oh, jeez.
If I read that correctly, anyway. All right. So let's see. All right. So jumping ahead, the healthcare waiting list. China's hospitals, long notorious for sifting bureaucracy. They're currently experimenting with social credit systems in order to reduce the waits by up to 60%. The credit system is giving users with a score above 650 a credit at one Shanghai hospital, letting them see a doctor without lining up to pay. Katie, what do you think? If you are a good on social credit score stuff, then you do not have to pay as much, and you get there faster. The kiddie's like, dude, I'm all about that, right?
But Brian, isn't there a triage system for that already?
Not based on social credit scores.
No, but I mean, I'm based on medical need.
Yes, it's a triage system, and basically either a doctor or a nurse will evaluate the patient, determine who needs the care the most, the quickest, and those that can safely wait. Those that can't safely wait get taken first. So the most serious get seen first, and the ones that are less seriously injured or ill get taken later. So it's basically based on medical need as determined by the medical professionals. At least that's how it's supposed to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, supposed to. Keyword, supposed to work. Oh, boy.
But to do it based on social rating, that's a little scary. Because you're giving somebody whose judgment as to whether you're socially in with them, basically the power of life and death.
Mm-hmm. And kind of in America, though, it's did you see, Brian, did you see the interesting shift in life expectancies? That it's declining for poorer populations, which is the majority of the population, but it's greatly increasing for the wealthy. Mm-hmm. It's like the wealthy are getting, the absolute best healthcare they can, probably, obviously. And
what I'm experiencing is the doctor's offices and stuff like that, the first thing they ask you is what kind of health insurance do you have? Mm-hmm. And if you don't have any, they don't want to deal with you.
It depends how much cash you got.
Well, that's probably their next question, but mm-hmm. I've been told by people that don't have health insurance that's the next question that they do get into is they want a deposit up front.
Mm-hmm. Brian, any thoughts on that as far as deposits, insurance?
Right.
What do you prefer? Do you prefer insurance or money, or how do you handle that?
I mean, it depends. I want to get paid for what I do. If they have insurance that will pay me, I'm okay with that. If they don't have insurance that will pay me, I want them to pay me. If they're willing to pay me, I'm fine either way as long as I get paid. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people don't understand that. And if you don't take their insurance, they won't see you because they don't want to pay. Mm-hmm. Other people are more than happy and willing to pay.
Yeah. Those crazy people want to actually get paid for your work. What?
Yeah, they want.
I just spent 3.5 hours today working on trying to get a stupid little specialized pop-up JavaScript image scroller rolling for somebody, and I really hope they accept the bid because otherwise I just wasted 3 hours.
Yeah. I had one fellow that owns a group home, and everyone in the group home is on an insurance that won't pay me anything, and he wanted me to come out to the facility and treat 5 people in the facility basically for free. So I'm like, no, can't do that.
All right, on to the virtual world. According to the guys who make up this credit system, playing 10 hours of video games a day would lower your credit score than a responsible parent buying loads of diapers. But playing games can lower your credit score, so no matter how much direct way you cheat. All right, so what do you guys think of that? So you like playing your video games, and so you have a lower social credit score because of that.
First of all, how do they know that you're playing video games? It's not like there's cameras inside your house.
Look behind you, Quint. Look behind you. There's a camera.
More and more games are being centralized on servers.
In fact, almost all of them now. Yeah.
Right. All the Steam games are on servers. And my son's a big gamer, and what else does my son have in his room along with his gaming console? An Echo Dot.
Yep.
And looked away.
The Counter-Strike Global Offensive here. They must register using their national IDs and the credit score, according to the state media outlet. So you literally have to start registering with the Chinese government to play your video games. Isn't that awesome?
I was actually asked today why I don't play Fortnite, and I say it's, first of all, it's a stupid game that is very addictive, and second of all, it doesn't work on Linux, and I don't like Windows.
There you go.
I thought they had that running on Wine these days, though.
You can't actually enter any battles.
Oh, okay.
It
Again,
thinks it's cheating software.
Devil's advocate here. You would want probably more people to play some video games, and nice ones, just to keep them from having idle time on their hands if they have it.
But you should
idle
be
time
out
brews
buying
mischief.
stuff. Hey, if you use an aimbot, if they detect you using an aimbot, man, your social credit score is going down. Literally impacting your effect to real world get a loan. Woohoo! You can't get a loan today. We detected you using an aimbot on Global Counter-Strike Offensive. What?
Can you imagine, like, if you were denied a car loan or some other financial or public service because you had a wall hack?
Yeah. You use Linux. I think that you need to pay more for your loan. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they're probably putting stuff like that into Deepin now.
Yeah, probably.
I think Deepin is a pretty popular operating system in China, if I remember.
Yeah, I don't know. It's somebody had pointed out some of the fascinating weirdness in their EULA on my comment on it. It was kind of.
I thought the thing that was weird is that it said that you're not allowed to use the software outside of China.
Yeah, and they distribute it to me outside of China, so what's that say? Of course, I will have a very bad social credit score if I ever go to China, I guess.
They're testing their outside their country monitoring system.
Yep, there you go.
I'm going to set up a Deepin install and then just install a bunch of random Chinese apps on it.
Good luck. Do it through a firewall, man.
You don't want any of that Chinese fuzz over bugging you in your software.
Yeah. So apparently, I mean, chasing K-pop stars. I'm not hip enough to understand what this one's all about. Let me go ahead and read it. You guys can enlighten me. Does anybody know what this means off the top before I read this?
Rabbit K-pop.
Korean pop stars.
Oh, Korean pop stars? So chasing Korean pop stars apparently will lower your credit score. Okay, I don't know what that means.
Must be North Korean pop star.
Yeah. Let's see. Until then, fans were able to get away with the annex until their large numbers caught up with the fact they bought cheap, refundable tickets to enter secure areas. News regulation also indicates a potential 1-year ban from flying and social credit penalties for a host of other bad behaviors, from forging boarding passes to stealing suitcases. Giving men access to women-only dating groups. In China, a high credit score can help you find a date. Woohoo! Is this like keeping the population on with better people? Is this reverse eugenics? Interesting. Zenaya.com, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, a dating service with 140 million users, which is partly owned by the American parent behind Tinder, oh Lord help us, gives users with high credit scores a better visibility on their website. And then the Tinder-like move, dating giant, is it Baihe.com? I don't know. I'm not know if I'm pronouncing these right. Let users with high Sesame credits show off their score to members of the opposite sex, as long as they agree to display their scores as well. You show me mine, I'll show you yours.
Oh, boy.
Sometime, though, mixing up social credit and dating goes too far. In late 2016, Alipay launched a new feature on its app called Circles, which created women-only groups where only men with Sesame credit scores over 750 could comment on women's posts, which they immediately did, mostly by asking for, the feature was widely derided as digital prostitution. One blogger called it alley pimp.
Oh my god.
So apparently that will lower your social credit score too.
Just why China? Why?
Yeah. Well, this is the one Vince was talking about. Skipping deposits for rentals. Good credit can make living in the city significantly easier. Some cities, people with a high credit score can check into hotels, rent umbrellas, and even rent cars without paying a deposit. Let's see. So there you go. That's kind of like, isn't that kind of like, you know, hey, you can save some money by using your Shoppers Club card. I find it funny. It's like, hey, every $500 you get 10 cents off your gas. I just have to spend $500 to get 10 cents off my gas. My lord.
I know. At Whole Foods you can get 10% off if you're a Prime member.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
My parents do use, and it actually does save a ton of money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can. Now, what is the price differential if you were to buy the same exact stuff in another store? Because that's one of the things we don't always think about. There were some good coupons in there for, like, you know, it's like really cheap can of coffee, and of course I like my coffee, so it's like, yeah, sure, I'll go to that other grocery store I don't generally go to. I bought the things I usually would buy, and I'm spending quite a bit more money than going to the normal grocery store, which is a lot cheaper without.
I've experienced that too, time and time again.
I guarantee you that whatever you're saving, the store's still not losing money. I guarantee.
Yep.
And you're losing money if you go to that store to get all the sale items, and then go to another store, get all their sale items, and by the time you're done saving a penny here and there, you've lost it all in gasoline and time.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, I used to go around. We had like a Best Buy, a Circuit City, a Walmart, an Office Max in our town. Drive around to all the different towns looking for the best price on the best new printer and find out that the difference was about 15 cents.
Yeah.
Like, well, that makes you feel like an idiot.
We just sort of have a habit of shopping at Whole Foods. Just get because the stuff is more natural there.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you do your home cooking stuff that's pretty much natural, but I assume there's not a Whole Foods where you are, is there?
No, we have a Nature's Pantry, which is kind of nature-based. We have a Trader Joe's, but I'm a little leery of that.
That's the other place we shop.
Yeah, they have a lot of these organic things, but Trader Joe's organic line does not have any certifications of being organic, and they own a large company stake in Monsanto, which is an interesting question to ask about a supposed natural food store. I get some things there, but like it's some of the best price for bacon, some of the best price for coconut oil, a few other odds and ends. And it's right next to the other store I go to, so it's not like I lose a lot. I hit Trader Joe's first, pick up the things that I know generally are cheaper there, and then head over to the other store. Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much that, and then for stuff like just regular like household stuff, we go to grocery stores like Publix, just regular type grocery stores.
Yeah. Every now and again, I go to Walmart. I try not to buy food over there, though. There's
only one Walmart where I am, and it's a bit far from us.
Mm-hmm.
Walmart's great if you got to get like name brand coffee that's got a really good deal on it, or a few things that are just an awesome deal that you can buy anywhere else. But to get into like their meat and stuff like that, you know, it's not that good.
I know my teacher, the guy who looks like you, buys all of his groceries from Walmart. He buys San Pellegrinos and yogurts, and then he puts them in a mini fridge that is in his classroom.
Yeah, that's what I did as a
professor.
My
Walmart store closed.
Wow, how'd that happen?
Well, within 5 miles down the highway, there's like a very small town. There's a Walmart there. There's a Myers across the street, which is somewhat like a Michigan-based Walmart. And there's a Kroger's grocery store, too, just down the road from that. Between the Kroger's with the food and Myers and their food and their stuff, there's just not enough population to support all that around here.
Yeah.
And Walmart, when they opened the store, they had a contingency that the store had to start making money within 5 years, or else they were going to close it. It was already set up front what their intentions were with it.
All right. Next thing here, banning social gatherings. In a sign that the government is using social credit system to deepen its control over civil society, social credit is also being harnessed to crack down on illegal social organizations. The Ministry of Social Affairs has announced it would take measures to blacklist people involved in such organizations, which are claimed to be largely fraudulent or copycat associations, often using vague names in their title like international to swindle people. Regulations state that one of the social credit would be affected if they were found to be involved in running such an organization. But what makes a social organization legal or illegal in China has a lot to do with its political stance. China cracks down on foreign-funded NGOs. Well, the same ministry attacking illegal soccer organizations recently required that the legal ones include Communist Party building in their characters, or in their charters, excuse me, to ensure their correct political direction. Huh, great.
Have you been following that story, Tom, about the Chinese scientist who did the gene editing?
I have not, actually.
Well, he's just gone missing.
Oh, he's just gone missing.
I'm reading a news report now. He's just gone missing for over a week since that news story broke out.
Huh. Well,
that's how it happens.
I bet he's down at the bottom of the ocean somewhere.
Yeah, this is how the social credit score works.
Yes. It got a little low. He's being retrained in room 101.
Wow.
And you know what? I just realized anyone can post the link in the chat.
Yeah, I don't know when that happened.
Yeah.
It happened not too long ago. You used to have to be mod to do a link. But now you can do a link no matter
I
what.
assume it's probably a YouTube change.
Oh, yeah, they change everything without telling anybody about it.
You know, this is one thing that I just realized, that because everybody always asks to be a mod, but if you made everybody a mod, that would have pretty much the same effect as everybody being a regular user. Yes, because mods can't mod other mods.
Yeah. Indeed. Stopping your eating. All right. And since 2005, China's Supreme Court has shared a blacklist of millions of people who defrauded on their court fines with Sesame Credit. In turn, Sesame Credit lowers the user's scores and even bars them from making luxury purchases on the Alibaba-owned marketplaces, Tobayo and Tmall. So you can't even do online shopping if your credit score gets low enough. That's exciting. System could
I wonder how they define luxury purchase. I mean, that could be a pair of shoes.
Hey, man, anything over the basic bread and water. Yeah. So yeah, frequent dreaders could eventually be barred from attempting to buy breakfast, take a bus, and look for jobs. You're a frequent debtor, man. So you need to go pay off your debts first. How can I pay off my debts without a job? I don't know. Oh boy. So yeah. So are we excited to have this kind of stuff? We've gone through this. What's your thoughts, guys? What about inviting this stuff into the West?
I'm real excited not to live in China right now. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, really.
Someone's going to try it somewhere. I just hope it isn't here.
Yeah.
About the cameras, a few years ago, they were continuing to put up more and more freeway cameras around the outer Detroit area and then coming out towards me. And some camera vigilante decided to take it upon himself to go out at night and use a firearm and blow these things out. He would do just one in a night. But this went on for like 6 months. About every 2 or 3 nights, it'd be on the news, another camera got hit. And all of a sudden it stopped, but nobody told us what happened to the guy, or if they caught him, or he disappeared, or what happened to him.
Just disappeared one day.
It just stopped happening.
I don't think I want to go to China anytime soon.
I fear that no matter what we do, I think it's coming though. I fear that in some form or another, it's coming. Whether it takes a Google and a Microsoft to get together.
I'm sure stuff like this will happen in that Microsoft city we were talking about in that open chat.
And frankly, I think a lot of this is already happening in a way, because we have, we cannot engage in society without having an account through Google or through Facebook or through Twitter or through, we really can't engage in an online society without these at this point in time. All right. On the one hand, but then all of that data they're starting to use that data against all of us. They really are. All of us are getting, all of us are at risk. Like PayPal, I think, is like systematically deplatforming about everybody they can right now. They're going crazy. And then Apple, of course, Tim Cook did this very crazy, ominous speech. Was it yesterday? I think it was. You guys see this? This is like, and it was like, it's about all this, we're going to get hate speech off, and this is all this. And then people are like, well, you're allowing all of these rappers with misogynic lyrics and mass violence onto your iTunes platform. You're not saying anything about that, but you got a problem with Alex Jones and with a few other people that none of us have really heard much about. I mean, don't sit here and talk about hate doesn't have a place on our thing and then allow people on here with excessively violent, destructive, and horrible lyrics on your songs. You want to get serious, you know? But that's kind of that. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is already upon us. It's just not realized in its full form yet, you know?
Toss just joined us.
Yes. Hey, Toss, how's it going there? I have Guido credit score. Toss is protected by a Guido credit score.
At what point does the color flip from red to green?
At what point does what?
The color of the credit score flip from red to green.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like about 800, 700, 800, you're in that green zone. Then you get into that white zone. Then you get to that red zone around 500 or so. All right, let's jump on over to the comments before we hit our last article here. See where I'm at. Okay, if Apple moves to China, all of your Apple passwords and stuff is in the hands of the Chinese government. Well, everyone on that part of the world is already in there. That was a condition for them to continue to do work in China.
Yeah, aren't the iCloud servers in China in China?
Well, if your address at Apple is listed as Chinese, then you are on a Chinese iCloud server, and the Chinese government has access to that. Yes.
I know some of the iCloud servers are in Google Cloud.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of funny. But
the Chinese government must be massive.
Yeah. Joe asks, what am I feeding the kitty? Lots of really good things. Really, really, really good things. Yeah, he is getting a little chubby in me. That's okay. He's so cute.
Does your other cat get as many treats as CJ does?
No, but she eats more people food. CJ likes cat treats and cat food. TJ likes popcorn and cheese and all sorts of other weird things. So I
know my grandmother, or her dogs refuse to eat like store-bought dry dog food, so she has to make dog food for them.
Uh-oh.
That means they're spoiled.
Yeah.
And they're not healthy enough.
Using something like Steam, you can track how long you are active. Yeah. Let's see. Remember hearing special. Let's see. Oh, sorry. I'd say pretty soon is going to be based on your genes. I'm sorry, your insurance is going to cost you more because of your eye color. Yeah, there you go. Brian, any heads up in that right now? Are we seeing any real shift in the medical community based on genetics?
A little bit. I mean, Amazon is getting really into pharmaceuticals now. Aetna just got bought out by CVS. So now you have one of the biggest health insurance companies, Aetna, which is owned by a pharmaceutical company. Mm-hmm. And CVS has a lot of genetic projects going on. They own a couple of genetic engineering companies. Of course, they have access to the 23andMe and all these other genetic testing sites.
And there was another site I saw recently, and I forget the name of it. I saw an ad for it. But it's like a blanket, send us your DNA, and we'll cross-reference it against all sorts of different diseases that we have, which of course, guys, this is just handing your DNA to a big company. What's their exit strategy? Well, their exit strategy is probably going to sell that to a health insurance company at some point in time. Probably
right. And as soon as the health insurance companies know you may be susceptible to any of these rare diseases, you're uninsurable.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Either that or your premiums are sky high. So it's really a case where the more health insurance companies know about you, the worse it is for you. I mean, you really can't win by giving them any knowledge at all.
I hate to say it, but the entire industrial world as we know it is contracting. This is getting bought out by this, is getting bought out by this, what is going to get bought out by this. And within another 20 years, there'll only be like 50 companies, and that's it.
Less than that. I mean, have you seen the, have you looked at the company-owned charts, who owns what? It's pretty much like almost everything in the consumer world is only down to like 4 companies, I think. It's down to like Unilever. Like Unilever owns like Johnson & Johnson. I mean, who is it? It's like, I forget. I'll have to find that chart. But literally it's down to like, holy crap, so few number of companies own like everything.
And that's why the government can't bust them up.
Yep. Can't do it at all. All right, so our last article. Whoa, I lost my place. There we are. All right. So my last article here, we are going to be looking at. I think this one came from Vince. Pass us over. This is kind of looking at if we're talking about the progression and how this stuff is starting to work and move on. Australia now passes cyber snooping laws with global implications. Woohoo! You want to tell us a little bit about this, Steve? Or, sorry, Vince.
It's only just come about yesterday that the opposition party here, who had been trying to make some amendments to the law, basically caved in, and I think it's passed the lower house, but we're still going to wait for it to pass the Senate in the new year. It is what they're saying is that it's going to end up potentially affecting the security of not just Australians but everyone else in the world, because these companies now will have to be able to operate in Australia, will have to build in ways that the authorities can get into your encrypted messages and things like that. And what the government doesn't realise that all this stuff is being used as well. The same encryption is being used on your bank accounts, on your email, on a whole lot of other stuff, and it's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we talked about this when it was first being proposed, when I think it was Apple that came down. Like Tim Cook's like, oh, this is really stupid. A lot of other people are like, this is really stupid. It basically is a blanket thing like, yeah, encryption's not really legal over here anymore. So be careful if you're doing stuff back and forth with Australia. Somebody
asked one of the politicians a question about, did you know that this law also applies to you guys as politicians as well, right? You do realize that your messages between whoever you deal with that are supposed to be private are no longer private as well, right? And their response was, I don't know.
Did you see, Tom, Mugen said it will all be Taco Bell.
Uh-oh.
Or the other big consumer company, I didn't realize my microphone was muted, is P&G.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find that list. Okay. So, like in the 1980s, there were like 50 different media stations, and now there's only like 5. Okay, so according to Forbes, now this article is 2011. But there are maybe 147 companies owning everything, but it's actually really boils down to only 4. And this is old stuff. Let me see if I can find something newer than that. This from September 2017. This says 10 companies control everything that you buy.
What are the laws like over there about the anti-competitive laws about companies merging and that sort of thing?
Well, we're supposed to have an anti-monopoly law, but apparently it don't work.
Yeah. See, I had that wonderful image up there. There it is. All right. So, yeah, we are supposed to have anti-monopoly, but nobody enforces it. In fact, it's getting worse.
The trouble is the government's controlled by these companies in the first place anyway.
Tom, I don't know if you remember. It was a few
I
years
think it's the other way
ago
around.
where Cisco and it was Cisco and U.S. Foods tried to merge. I don't know if you remember that from a few years ago.
No, I don't.
But the government, that was like the one attempt that the government actually stopped.
Yeah. Now, of course, like the biggest two media companies, like AT&T is trying to merge with Time Warner, and it looks like it's going to go. It's like, what? I'm sorry. Anybody else was saying something too?
American Thugs and Thieves is going to buy Time Warner.
Yep.
Oh, God.
So
I think we're going to have another stroke.
Yeah, so here is 10 companies owning everything. Nestle, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, Unilever, General Mills, Kellogg's, Mars.
Yeah, I know
British
Kellogg's
Foods.
bought up Keebler's.
Yep. And Mondelez. And I think there's actually fewer than that at this point. And Dannon. And I think
the thing
this is
with
even
these
out of date.
companies, when they buy up another company, they actually eventually liquidate that company and merge it into their own and lay off a lot of people and close a lot of warehouses.
Yep.
I experienced this firsthand.
Yeah, and this is why it's so bad to have all this going on, you know? It's just like we need to keep small business as the backbone, not large business.
The major companies, you got in them pictures. I do direct business with 4 of them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Ooh, Mondelez, Oreos, Mars.
Look what Toss said.
Taco Bell should merge with Fruit of the Loom. Ooh, well played, well played. They would definitely have an increase in sales.
Yeah.
Like I specifically buy Hershey when I can because Hershey, despite it being a big company, Nestle keeps on trying to buy it, and Hershey's like, no, we're not selling out. And so it is still pretty big, but it still also maintains Hershey, Pennsylvania being the center of what it's doing.
Or do you just buy it because it's a local company in Pennsylvania?
No, it's more that they've taken a strong stand against Nestle, and frankly, I think Nestle is one of the companies that's like ruining the world. Kind of crazy. So, any other fun commentary?
I had to look up what Fruit of the Loom was. I didn't know what that was.
Oh,
It's
underwear company.
Yeah, now I do.
Men's underwear.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it just men? I didn't know they had.
I don't know. They might have some lady stuff too, but it's more commonly known for men.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And they would definitely increase some sales with new Taco Bell underwear.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
That's nuts.
Joe did post a link.
Oh, okay. Let's see. What's that one?
Consumer radar or consumer alert.
Credit-based insurance scores. How an insurance company can use your credit to determine your premium. Yes. So yes, part of the premium that you pay on your car insurance is based on your credit score, which is kind of annoying because, you know, I don't use a lot of.
That's supposed to be illegal here. Oh yeah, and by the way, today's the first day you can own up to 12 pot plants.
Oh, in your state?
In my state.
Woohoo! We know what Dan's going to be doing next week.
We know why everybody called in sick today.
Yep. Yeah. So is that in your state? This is supposed to be illegal, or I know nationally this is something that.
No, in my state, this is supposed to be an illegal thing where they can't use your credit score to determine your insurance premium for your automobile.
Yeah. Let me show people what we're looking at. Yeah. And I think that they shouldn't be able to. I think a credit score should exclusively be used for that. But frankly, I think the credit score system entirely should be abolished. I've never done business with Equifax, Experian, or TransUnion. I don't want them having my data.
Our
Wasn't
auto
the reason
insurance
for the
here is
hack,
kind of really weird.
Tom?
Hold on. Dan, go ahead.
Our insurance here is kind of weird because in Michigan you have unlimited health damage. If you're in an accident, you're severely hurt. There's no cap on how much medical care you can get for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's unlimited medical care if you're injured in an accident.
Okay.
Which makes the auto insurance kind of a little pricey here.
Mm,
Okay. All right. Quint?
Wasn't Equihacks? I can't say that. Weren't they running an old version of Apache Tomcat? It was something like that. That's what I heard.
Yes, there was a high vulnerability patch that had been rolled out months before their hack occurred, and they simply never updated it.
See, that makes me think, what would happen if the Chinese social credit score got hacked? Imagine that. You could shut down the whole country. Nobody could buy food.
That was happening with India, right? That happened in India.
Mm.
Imagine how low your credit score would be if you hacked the Chinese credit score system.
Ooh.
I think the CIA might be watching.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thanks for that, Joe. Let's see. I have a link to post of mine. I did find out that you have to be logged into an Amazon account for this, but I am giving away a couple of copies of Testing and Temptations through Amazon, so that book there. You can follow the link there on Amazon. It's a free giveaway. I'm giving away 5 copies, and I think there's 3 left last time I checked. So you can log in there, enter to win. It's all fulfilled by Amazon stuff, so if you want a free copy of that book, you can go check out that link there. Any other thoughts here? We'll probably wrap this up here in a few minutes. We got through all of our articles, and we're pretty much caught up on our chat. Any final words from you guys?
Well, I would advise getting a really good rubber mask so you can put it on when you leave the house.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not fully identified.
A variety of masks and different skin tone things you can put on your face to mess up the facial.
Get one for every president.
There you go. Yeah. There's some cameras now, do you see, that can actually determine who you are based on how you walk, the gait that you walk, and you can actually get around it by putting a pebble in your shoe. Because you'll kind of walk a little bit differently if you got something in your shoes. So, you'll be selling a few different sizes.
I actually have. It was my brother bought it because he wanted to surprise my mom. It's a goat. It's a mask that's a pirate llama. It's like this giant mask. I guess if I go to China, that's what I'll be wearing.
Yeah, there you go.
Should I go get my horse mask?
Sure, go for it.
I need it. Let me go get my pirate llama mask.
Oh boy. Yeah. Let's see. Ben, any final words?
Let's hope that this stays in China and doesn't spread to the West or North America. This is kind of scary.
Yeah. Brian?
This is real scary. I want to try and get real good at putting good masks on with some good tinfoil hats and put a rock in my shoe
mustache and
artificial temperature emitters so that it throws my distribution of body heat off so they can't track
Got
me
my
down.
tinfoil hat.
You live in Florida, pack your shirt full of ice.
Yeah.
Buy Toss's smart clothing that redistributes your heat in different ways. Dan, final thoughts?
Like I said, tinfoil hat, rubber face mask. I really hope this doesn't come to here. I think our government's going to look at this. They're going to see how it's going to play out for a while. They'll probably even fine-tune it if it does come here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Make it worse for us, yeah. Better for the corporatists.
They have a way of doing that.
Yep. Quint, final thoughts?
I just hope this doesn't spread outside of China.
Okay.
Really, that's all I hope for. I'm just going to pray that it doesn't, because it's the scariest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. And Vince?
I bet this is given some of our respective governments ideas. I'm scared for that.
Yeah, absolutely,
It
absolutely.
makes someone go climb under your bed.
Oh my!
Or just not to leave the house, but then of course they'll determine you're not out in society enough, so they'll lower your credit score.
What would George Washington say?
Take the axe and cut that cherry tree down, yo.
Hey Ben, can I hit you up for that mask? I want to borrow it next time I go to China.
Sure thing.
All of a sudden, there's a horse on the stream.
That's too funny. I
I can
want.
barely say.
Quite epic. Quite epic.
I'll go get my pirate llama mask
right.
after the stream.
Oh, I got a Freddy Krueger rubber mask around here
Nice.
somewhere.
We need that one too. All right, guys, we'll go ahead and wrap up the stream from here. So thanks for coming along on this fascinating thing. Tomorrow we should be doing the news about the regular time, 9 o'clock Eastern. And I will be on the 9 o'clock Eastern today on the Christian channel. We were talking about, is God really a male? People have been asking that lately. So, okay, we'll go ahead and address that on the live stream. So that's about an hour on my channel, Our Walking Christ. So you can come on over for that. So thanks for coming along. And do I need to? I guess I do need to feed this cat, don't I? Let's go ahead and feed this kitty real quick. Oh, kitty. Oh, kitty. Oh, kitty. Let's see if I can lower the camera for you guys, too. There we are. Hey, buddy. Look at that. Ooh, look at that. Come on. Stick your face in there. Stick your paw in there. Stick something in there. You're going to have to get it yourself. You lazy cat. He just doesn't seem motivated today. Oh, maybe he is. Oh, he's pulling a bunch out. Yeah, was that good? All right.
Hi, CJ.
Hello.
Hey, TJ.
All right. Let's see. So, yeah, well, we will see you guys over there on the other channel if you guys want to join me over there. And if not, then see you tomorrow for the news. We will catch you guys later.